Let's go right into our matchups and keys to victory. So I can pull them up here. Number one, Packers defensive ends versus read looks. We talked about it. How are the Packers going to handle this option play? There's a number of different ways to do it. My idea is when they're in the looks that demonstrate when they're in pistol, that defensive end, there can't be a lot of hesitation. You have to make a decision. Are we going to tackle the running back on the line on the snap, or are we going to contain the quarterback? If we're going to tackle the running back, who's got run support? Are we gonna designate kind of a fold look with the linebacker, which they'll have an answer for? Are we gonna have the safety come down, which they'll eventually have an answer for? Are we going to play a hard cover 2 on the other side and make sure that corner defeats their wide receiver? I don't think that's a great idea, but it's something you can certainly do as a mix-up. But you can run like they call a corner strike, where that corner is always going to play inside. They're going to fold that safety back down and replace him late. That's going to be a big part of this game because they can get a lot of looks off that. Obviously, the play speed of the linebacker has a lot to do with that as well. At the second level, like, can you chase Fields down? Number 2, Packers offensive line versus their box 7 or 8 Bears defenders. We talked about their safety coming down a lot. Does the head coach go with nickel looks and then try to account for Brisker and nickel looks? So do they go 4-2 when they bring him down? They run 7 in the box. Are we going to count for him? Or do we feature a lot of base and like 12 personnel stuff that makes them go to base defense and then mix in some of that motion run with that more of a heavy passing attack that puts their secondary in kind of a disadvantaged position? Because with our 12 personnel and our tight ends kind of being what they are, you can get the matchups you want with Reed, with Dobbs, with if Watson was healthy, with Wicks is healthy. You get those, and you're also going to get a matchup that you probably like with Tucker Kraft or Sims. So I think there's opportunities there. Either way, my guess is that the Bears are just going to be singularly focused on stopping Aaron Jones and making this a one-dimensional football team. And how do you combat that? Number 3, Rashawn Gary versus Darnell Wright. And Gary's been relatively quiet the last couple of weeks. And a lot of people ask, what is that? What is that? What is that? Certainly from an effort standpoint, it's there. This kid is young, first-round draft pick out of Tennessee, a lot of talent. But it's one of those matchups you go, okay, Rashawn Gary, primetime game, highly touted rookie, playoffs on the line. Like, our best needs to be our best. So this is one of those games, like, we want to see multiple sack performance. We want to see you all over Justin Fields making plays in the passing game, being that destructive force that everybody knows you can be. 3 keys to victory. Number 1, play your role on defense. It just keeps coming up. Play your role. Justin Fields' ability to run really tests a defensive kind of scheme and priorities. Now he's completing those deeper crossing routes. He's completing some go routes. And the key from the Green Bay Packers, from a defensive perspective, is staying aggressive, but within your system. So it's not doing anything outside. Like, stay in your lane. Just do your lane as good as you can. Run fit as well as you can. Understand, communicate as well as you can. These are kind of the games that cause issues in run fits, in second level defenders, guys getting sucked up into play action looks. You got to be disciplined. You got to have watched just miles and miles on tape and see some tips and tells from the lineman, from the running back, from where they line up, everything to understand I can't lose half steps in this game when it comes to Justin Fields. Number 2, don't abandon the run. The Bears are the top of the league against the run, but Atlanta showed last week there are plays to be made in the run game if you account for the safety. If you run into the safety, you can have success at the second level. If you can get that extra half step on the double team because you know that safety is going to play outside leverage on simple zone plays. Something as easy as that creates opportunities for players like Aaron Jones to make plays. This offense needs to stay on the field. We want long drives, and you finish, obviously, in the red zone. But if the Bears come to play and their running game's on and Justin Fields is completing passes, you don't want him on the field. This isn't a top 3 offense by any means. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you don't want this to turn into a game where they run for 150 yards or 200 yards on offense and we don't see the football. And the only way to combat that is to be very deliberate, marching down the field, making things happen on the offensive side of the ball. And I think you can't do that without the run. And the third one is rush lane integrity. You got to make Justin Fields exit the pocket away from the line of scrimmage. I would consider, I talked about it, using some sort of NASCAR. I don't know if you want to just commit Quay Walker to running spy because they are completing, but they do, like DJ Moore is a legitimate receiver. Cole Kmet is a legitimate tight end. They will cause you problems. But if you blind up Emegbari, for example, let Rashawn Gary rush one-on-one. Keep Kenny Clark in the game. Keep Devontae Wyatt. So somebody inside in the game. But add a stand-up defensive end. Is it Lucas Van Ness? Is it Emegbari? I don't know. But somebody that can keep up physically with Justin Fields when he exits the pocket, hopefully away from the line of scrimmage. And if he exits downhill, can we immediately get a helmet on a helmet? Sometimes it's okay to rush 3 or at least present 4, rush 3. You can still hold 2 defenders. If I line up in the A gap as a stand-up defensive end, we call it a spinner look, somebody's going to account for me. It's not like if I line up in the right A gap, the right guard and the center aren't going like this. One of those 2 guys is still there. So you still have the numbers and the matchups you want with the rest of the team. The problem comes when you drop all those guys. All of a sudden you have 2 double teams. Only one guy needs to block like a nose tackle. So that changes a little bit. But you can still run spinner and make them play their protections. And then you can go late. If they split, you go. If the right guard you leave, you go. Otherwise, you stay, you collect 2, and you wait for that quarterback to make his move. Kind of stuff I would think about during this game, because for me, he's too talented, and it's too big a part of their game. It's not improvisation, but the design plays where Justin Fields has those options are too big a part of their offense to not account for it. You just kind of buy the book. So I think this is going to be a good matchup. Listen, the Packers got a lot to play for, obviously. It's a much closer game. It's a much closer game than it was 3 months ago, when we first played them. This is going to be a good game, I think, in Lambeau. And you just think, Eberflus feels like he's going to keep his job. I think the general manager, it feels the same way. Obviously, feels like Justin Fields would love to put like a bow tie on this season as they go into the offseason thinking about, are we going to pick up that first pick? What does that look like? What are we going to do with this kid? It feels like that could happen. It also feels like it could go completely the other way and Jordan Love and the company just blow the doors off. But I tend to think when you have a team in December that runs the ball well and stops the run, I always think that's going to be a close game. So for those reasons, I think this is going to be a good one. You see the Packers winning this game because I think it just has to mean more to them, the opportunity to go to the playoffs and see what that looks like with this young team. But 3 points, it's a coin flip. It's an absolute coin flip for me. So that's all I got this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you're enjoying this, obviously subscribe, rate, and review to our wrong button. Tell you what, man, still taking out technology. If you're enjoying this, hit me up, MikeWall68 on Twitter, Process Performance, Instagram. Hit me up with questions about the game. We'll be doing some tweeting during the game as well. So until then, enjoy.